cruise through Baja California with a very special guest speaker, our senior expedition leader, Miss Kelly Sutter. And Kelly is just, you'll get it. She's got such enthusiasm and spirit and passion when it comes to all of our products, but certainly this part of the world. UnCruise Adventures is American owned and operated in a crude company. So we've been delivering small boat adventure cruising for the past 28 years. We have a total of 9 vessels, and by design, all under 86 passengers. That's 43 cabins is our largest vessel, and our smallest is 22 passengers or only 11 cabins to ensure that you receive an unmatched hands-on small group exploration. Our whole mission at UnCruise Adventures is to experience and inspire the appreciation of the local culture and natural world. And that will become very apparent as we move through this presentation. And this is unbelievable, Baja. I was just down in this area several months back, and this was one of my experiences standing right on the shore. This is how close we get to those beautiful remote areas in Baja. Now, if you've never traveled with UnCruise before, we are really unique. In fact, there's a lot of uns in UnCruise, and one of them is we are not port-centric, meaning that we're not bound for ports of call. So while embarking and disembarking from a port, in most cases, once we leave that port, we're in the backcountry, and we outfit ourselves with true, authentic immersion in every destination, and Baja is no different. Going from one great place to another, seeking the natural flora, fauna, and wildlife. We have inclusive activities that Kelly will go over today. Now, just remember, it's different from a big ship. These are included, and you get to customize your day to the activities that we offer during that time. Our expedition leaders, they're going to plan and manage all of our activities. We typically have 3 activities in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. And our expedition team, they're going to announce those activities that we offer throughout the day and come to each and every one of you on board to take your adventure order. And that's the cool thing. It's that you get to customize your day based on the activities that we have. And the best part of all of that, and you can see some of these images that Kelly and I have put up on the screen, it is such an immersion into a beautiful part of the world, and that we're so proud to be intimately involved and have wonderful local culture relationships in this part of the world. So before I bring on not Kelly, but another special guest, let's take a look at this video here. And you know what? It just dawned on me. Let's see. If for some reason you can't hear the volume, no worries. It's still a beautiful video to watch. So here you go. And my apologies again if you did not see that or not hear it, but it is such a great visual place. I'm sure it gave you all just an idea before we have our special guest and Kelly come on to talk about our time there. It's important to also know a lot of people hear that word adventure or expedition and they want to know, am I active enough? And the beautiful part about UnCruise Adventures is that we cater to the novice, the beginner, all the way to the experience. Our team on board will, I mentioned, plan and manage, but they also teach our guests how to do all the activities very safely and really immerse. Our wildlife dictates everything we do. Now, for those of you who know us, you might be looking at this page right here and see In Steinbeck's Wake, an epic voyage through the Sea of Cortez. And just below, you'll see 10 nights. And if you're like, I didn't know you did a 10 night, well, I understand why. This is brand new for us, and I'm going to bring on our special guest, our owner and CEO, Captain Dan Blanchard. And Dan is the brainchild behind this itinerary. So I thought, what a perfect guy to really give us kind of a high-low level of what we do down here. Dan, welcome.
Well, Julie, thank you for the invite. I love looking at this map, I have to tell you. And being that the weather is starting to change and it's actually cool now, I'm beginning to go, oh yeah, it's time to think about Baja Sur and Baja North. This is an area that I have traveled to long before I was in the small ship industry. And many, many years ago, took a trip down there, found Agua Verde, where some of you who have been with us before. I met the Romero family in the early 80s and, began this relationship with Baja California that has just endured. And, one of the things we're offering now is actually a trip we had planned prior to the pandemic and done the research for. We actually took one of our small boats, the Safari Quest, and north all the way to Refugio, which you see way at the north end of this map, inside the Sea of Cortez, or as I like to call it, the Gulf of California is truly its real name. But we've all got onto explorers, I guess. But anyway, we had a chance we had a down trip in 2016 or 17 when we had the Safari Quest there, and we took it all the way north and explored this area. I had done it by sailboat several times, but why is this trip special? Well, one, just like all areas of the world, when you really get to know them, there's a good time to go and a not so good time to go. Now, I would never take you on this route from sometime around the end of December or 1st of January, all the way through March, maybe even early April. Now, why? Because there are northerly winds that blow. The weather for the Sea of Cortez, or the Gulf of California, as I like, is created up at the four corners of the United States. And so we can actually watch the pressure systems way up north and what that means to this northerly wind that funnels down essentially January, February, March. And that's why we do our shorter 7-night trip just in that small section at the bottom of this map. But during this time of year, when we're talking October, November, early December, even into mid-December, we can travel up this area. And then again in April all the way through June, and we could actually run it even during the summer if you wanted to come. But what this does is the winds drop and it becomes very calm, and it gives us the chance to explore. Now, if there's anybody selling a boat up there in January, February, and March, don't go, because you're going to get the heck beat out of you. And this is why timing is important wherever we go. For us folks growing up on the West Coast, we know never go to San Francisco in the summer because it's cold and windy. Go in October, November when it's warm and calm. The same is true with the differences in weather and what it presents here on our 10-night Gulf of California trip, in Steinbeck's Wake, which we do follow a lot of the places where Steinbeck went and explored and kind of pull from the script of the book, the log from the Sea of Cortez, and talk about what was there then and what's there now. And there have been some cool changes, I have to say. But this area is very remote. Very few vessels are seen up in this area, but yet it is extraordinarily beautiful. The area basically is kind of this longer journey. We cover more miles, but we need to do that in order to get to these really remote areas that are hardly visited. Now, I'll pull out a couple. Bahia de Los Angeles, which is to the left upper part, that is where leatherback turtles are spotted. Now, this is the largest turtle on the planet. This turtle can be as long as 6 feet long, can be about the same width, about 5 feet, and usually sits about 36 inches, 40 inches from the ground up. This is a massive turtle, and it's very rare to see. But yet, that is one area where we have the opportunity to see leatherback turtles that you don't see anywhere else, as far as I know, even in Baja California, and certainly within the continental United States. So that's just one thing. The other thing that we see up there is we see different whale species in a big way. There's some really deep trenches, and we see sperm whales up there. We occasionally see humpbacks. We definitely see pilot whales, which are pretty aggressive critters, along with these massive groups of dolphins. And I hate to go too much into detail about this stuff because you can never count on what wildlife you're going to see, but I can tell you that we have seen groups of dolphins in excess of 2,000 members. And these are generally anything from Pacific white-sided to common dolphins, this type of thing. And even a little rare endemic dolphin that's very small that we see up there. So, this is a really special area. I invite you to come, and it's a great deal too, because because this is on our shoulder seasons, we offer this trip for the same price as our 7-night trip. So you get 10 nights for the price of 7 coming up. Now, I have to say that I'm getting down there soon because I want to get down and see the actual vessel in action on this route. So I'm going to be on the Christmas trip on 12/18, December 18th, and that goes for 10 days through the 28th of December. I'll be hosting the trip, and what I mean by that, I'm not just going to hold a glass of wine in my hand and host. I'm going to get out and lead groups, and we're going to explore together. And when we get up to Refugio, where I've had my sailboat before many years ago, I'm going to share some of the stories about me and my young kids and all this kind of stuff that happened up there, and bring this place alive. So I won't just be your typical host. I hope to I will be joining the guide team and taking groups out and that kind of thing. So come join me for the Christmas trip. I'm really looking forward to celebrating the season and some of the special things we're doing for the holidays as a whole. So, Julia, I don't know if that hits on what you wanted me to share, but that's kind of my roundabout here.
It was perfect. And honestly, I can't imagine sailing. Talk about an insider's trip, Dan, with you joining everyone on December 18th for this special voyage. The brainchild behind this itinerary will actually be there. And just, it's so wonderful to think about how you come up with these itineraries, what drives you to these itineraries, and really take everything your lifetime passions and build itineraries to share with our UnCruise guests on board. So as a team in the office, we're so excited about this. We have some specials on this departure as well, which I'll talk about towards the end. But I can't thank you enough. I know you're in between meetings and we're able to pop on to share your insights about this. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I hope those are listening out there. If you've never sailed with Dan or met Dan, it is definitely worth doing. His passion exudes amazing as the hero in our company and just creating such lifetime memories. So thank you so much, Dan, for jumping on.
Indeed. And thanks everyone for coming. And I hope to see some of you on December 18th in La Paz. And I'm going to be down there a few days early because I love La Paz.
Nice. Well, Dan, thanks again. And we can go right from here to our guest speaker, our senior expedition leader, Kelly Sutter, one of my favorite photos of Kelly. And this is swimming with the sea lions that we get to do on our 7-night cruise. And Kelly, what her job is, and I'll let her speak more in depth with it. But the beautiful thing that we do is because our expedition leaders are truly the first voice you hear in the morning and the last voice you hear in the evening, and are our hosts throughout the day, and again, plan and manage and teach us how to do all these activities. Kelly works with all of our expedition leaders and makes sure all of that happens again for that novice all the way to the experience. So, Miss Kelly, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so I love Baja so much. And I worked in Mexico as one of the guides down there when I was starting working with UnCruise in 2017, and have worked my way up into the office. So now I work a lot with the expedition leaders on board and permitting and doing a lot of route planning, and then also hiring the guides. So I'm more of an office person now, but if you are an uncruiser attorney, I run into a lot of returners. So I'm curious if anyone has sailed with me before, because a lot of the times when I still hop on the boats now, I'll run into some past guests, and that's really what happens here with UnCruise is you take one and you keep coming back. So I really hope there are some Alaska viewers here that are interested in traveling to Mexico to have that uncruise experience in this wonderful place.
I love that. If any of you out there have sailed with Kelly before, shoot Aileen a message. We get all the comments after, so we would love to see that. I know Kelly would love to see your name too. What a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah, so a little bit, so we have two different itineraries. We have the 7-day itinerary that we've been doing year after year, and this one's going to be not traveling as far north, but still hitting up some amazing spots like Agua Verde, and we're going to hit up the beautiful island of Espiritu Santo as well, which has that hot spot of the snorkeling with those sea lions. So as you saw in that picture before, I had a sea lion actually jump on my back, and it was because I had two guests that were snorkeling and were a little nervous. And what's really funny about that is, it's okay. These sea lions that usually interact with us are juveniles, but they like people being interesting, and people that tend to be a little bit nervous make more squealing sounds, which make them more interesting. So the sea lion decided to start inquiring what these little squeals are, and then from there decided to interact with us. And I was like, oh no, I got a nervous guest, and I jumped on in and took the sea lion on my back, and I took selfies. I loved it. It was great. It put its paws, or it put its fins around my waist, and was a really cool experience chewing on my snorkel. So that's something we offer on the 7-day at this national park, and we also offer a lot of unique experiences on board. So here are some of the highlights. Is the wildlife. I just told you that snorkeling with the sea lions, and just also seeing the amazing coral reef system down there. We also offer a mule ride up an arroyo and down up through a valley, which is just beautiful. I'll show pictures of that soon. Then from there, we just look for all the seasonal wildlife that comes through, including humpback whales. We'll be looking out for gray whales, the massive blue whale, and also those super pods that Dan was talking about. And also we'll hopefully see the amazing jumping of the mobile arrays that traveled down there as well. And I'm also a big birder, so I really love seeing all the seasonal birds that travel through, and also these amazing endemic birds that live out and survive their time out at sea. And you get seabirds next to desert birds, and it's just mind-blowing the type of bird life that we have down there. And then just the plants itself, living in a desert next to the water, and it just doesn't seem like it computes, but these amazing desert plants right next to the water, and you're looking at fish. So it's just, what a unique spot. And then also seeing the shoreline and these amazing cliffs, and we can see just the shoreline via our skiffs. And then of course we also offer kayaking, paddleboarding, snorkeling, and playing on the beach. So let's go into some of these activities I was talking about. And remember, all of this is included, which is pretty amazing. And so ideally, we try to go and do a morning and afternoon activity. And we like to make it sure that it suits your needs, and basically even if your traveling partner, like let's say you bring your family, and we've had massive family reunions from a 95-year-old, the grandparents with their kids, and the kids want to do a massive hike, but the grandparents don't like, can't hike up a arroyo. You choose different activities and then come back at the end of the day and talk about how much fun they had on and what different stuff they've seen. So it's really depends on what you want and the different variabilities of ability levels and truthfully what experience you want. Sometimes I get a lot of people that are like, I just want to chill on a beach and drink a cocktail. I'm like, great, you do that. So including that, we offer something, the beach parties, and we also, from beach parties, we offer kayaking. So look at the photo up here where we actually have a bunch of chairs and we bring a bunch of blankets out there and you just lay on the beach. And yes, we have a table out there with the bartender with endless amounts of beer, water, and even cocktails, and we'll even bring some snacks out there. And we'll provide all the sunscreen and bug spray that you need. And then from there, you can walk the beach on your own, have like if you want to just relax and beachcomb on your own, that's something you can do during the beach party. Also, beach parties is open kayak, so you can actually kayak out from the beach and stay within the boundaries and just kayak on your own. If you want to jump in the water, you totally can. It's usually in this really pretty, beach parties are usually nice and protected and in coves. And that's also where we bring out the paddle boards. If there's not a lot of wind, you can go out paddleboarding during those beach parties as well. So it's really, you sign up for a beach party and you can lay out in the sun, you can snorkel from the beach, you can kayak, you can paddleboard, you kind of do whatever you want and whatever you're feeling that day. So and we try to offer beach parties several times a week. So moving on, we also offer snorkeling, and we try to snorkel as much as we can because it's so pretty and every day is different. You never know what you're going to see. We do offer Snorkel 101, which is actually where if y'all haven't snorkeled in a long time, we do have snorkel equipment on board. So we do provide masks, fins, and also wetsuits. And if you're not used to the cold water, it's definitely not East Coast warm. It is West Coast cold sometimes. But if you're from Minnesota, you don't need one. But I'm from Florida. I like to wear one. So we do offer some easy snorkeling just from the beach, where we do that instruction. And then from there, we'll offer some more advanced snorkeling in the week where you would actually get on and off a skiff, as you can see in one of those photos. Yeah, that will drop you off in maybe a bit deeper water and a little bit more currenty water, but that's usually sometimes where more fish are located. So, and that's where the EL will tell you at the activity. We basically during lunch or at dinner, we'll sign you up for those activities and say like, okay, this is a easy snorkel, go on your own pace. Or if you want a guide there, we'll have a guide there. Or, hey, this is one of our harder snorkels this week. There will be a little bit of current, so make sure you're a strong swimmer. And that's how we sell our activities, so not every snorkel will be the same. So yeah, and then some of the things you'll see on snorkels, which is pretty amazing, is we have coral life and all different kinds of fish. And also we have that sea lion snorkel, which tends to be one of our harder snorkels we offer. And we have a lot of rules in place when we snorkel there. So we're not actually allowed to touch the sea lions. They have to approach us, and we only want to interact with juveniles and all that stuff. But it is a lot of fun and one of my favorite ones, and truthfully the best snorkel to see all the types of fish. So I always recommend that for that Lotus Day. But we also offer different activities if snorkeling is not your thing. We offer a ton of land activities. So the thing with Baja is that, if you sailed with us in Alaska, we do something called bushwhacking in Alaska. There's no bushwhacking in Mexico because that would be really painful because all the bushes have thorns. But it creates it to where there's a lot of rugged rocks, and there's actually a lot of trails out there. They're just social trails, not man-made trails and we hike up a valley to try to get a view. So we will offer some exploratory hikes, is kind of what we call our bushwhacking, but it's a lot more open in these areas, and we try to avoid our spiny plants. But it's amazing to see the desert flowers and to see the amazing cardone cactus, barrel cactus, the Oregon pipe cactus, which you see in that upper corner there, and also to get any viewpoints. It's just some of the best hiking to get views from a top, I think, compared to Alaska, where we might get, you might not be able to see the viewpoint, but it's just the adventure. Well, this one's like, let's get up to the top, see what we can see. And I've even seen whales from the top of a viewpoint. Now, those are our hard charger ones. Sometimes we will offer harder hikes where we're trying to get somewhere, we're trying to get some distance, but we also offer some medium hikes. You don't have to be a marathon runner. You don't have to hike every day to be on an UnCruise, but we'll go a group pace. But what we'll also offer some medium hikes where we're not going to go up as far. Truthfully, that ridge hike that we keep showing, that the one on the right lower quadrant there, that one's actually not that hard of a hike. It's a very slow incline up. A lot of, I'd say, the biggest bang for your buck, and that's at Isla San Francisco. And that one, you hike this beautiful ridge line and get the beautiful view. And it's actually not our hardest hike that we offer, even though it kind of has this amazing experience when you're up there. But we also offer just chill nature walks where, hey, I just want to go in to see these plants. I don't need to hike a ridge. I just want to see if I can find some birds, see the plants, see the cactus. We offer eco meanders. And we also offer shore walks, aka beachcombing and intertidal walks. The intertidal life in Mexico is so different compared to other places. I don't know if anybody's heard of something called a nudibranch or a navinac or a sea hare or a sea lemon. That's all that I'm showing right here. These tiny, tiny, really, really cool worms, sea worms, pretty much. These sea slugs, they're sea slugs. And they are such a treat. So our guides get so excited. I get so excited when I see these out there because they're so unique and amazing that it's always a treat. And we like to flip over rocks, and sometimes we found even some tiny octopus, and we find some sea cucumbers, and you wouldn't believe the wildlife that you find just flipping over a rock. So, and that is open for any ability level. So that's always a lot of fun. And beachcombing there is amazing. You could find the amazing shells along the beach, and we find a bunch of fish carcasses that just die naturally but float up on there, and they're actually quite dry and easy to pick up, like that puffer fish. I've even found blue-footed booby carcasses and that are completely dry because of it being the desert, and finding the skeletons, and it is just so much fun beachcombing. If you are just one of those people that like to scan and see what you can find, it is so much fun to see what you can find. And we all like, oh my gosh, I found this, and show each other and try to ID it. And it's just a fun experience to have with other uncruisers and with your guides, to see who finds the coolest thing. So that's some land options there. Another unique experience that we do have on the 7-day, which is basically going on a burro ride. So we stop at this beautiful bay called Agua Verde. And in this area, we actually have a lovely family, the Romeros, that come over, and they bring all of their donkeys and horses, and they will let us and take us on this beautiful about 2-hour ride up an arroyo, up a little valley, and then down the valley, and that goes around a beach. And it's really cool to experience that by burro back or horseback, and to have that experience. And also they sell all of their local handmade jewelry there as well, and you'll see the entire family of the Romeros there, from all the people, all the family members helping out loading everybody up on the burros, and they basically size you up for like, all right, this is your burro, and then from there you can come and have these homemade jewelry experience that you're not going to find at some regular gift shop. So it's really a really special day, especially since we are some of their main income. So we really like to support them as well. So yeah, that's always a fun one. And Dan talked about this a little bit. You can experience this on the 10-day and the 12-day, or the 10-day and the 7-day experience. And we're really also going to spend a half day cruising, and we'll also be looking for this anytime the boat is in motion. We're going to be looking out for that wildlife. We're actually in an area where we kind of have a really good chance of seeing the biggest whale in the world, which is the blue whale. And we're always going to be looking out for that, but also those big megapods of dolphins. We're going to be searching out for so much different wildlife while we're out cruising. And that's sometimes the best time to find those whales, like the pilot whales, maybe even the elusive sperm whale. And just, we're going to try to find the humpback, the orca, and those gray whales. So really, that's what we're going to try to do via the big boat, and see if we can find any of them. And if you're on that 10-day, you're more likely going to see that because you're going to spend a bit more time cruising and adventuring the farthest north. Well, 7-day, we're going to spend a half day cruising in an area where the blue whales are kind of known to hang out, but we don't know that until and that's based off of weathers, and we just look at the other boats around there, seeing if there's any wildlife to be found. So really fun experience to be had looking for all this amazing wildlife.
And Kelly, how many species of whales sit in that we are fortunate to, if we're choreographing with Mother Nature and she wants to bring her pod, do you know about 8 or 9, or it's such a
What's funny is
overwhelming amount.
I just have to lift them off. There's fin whales, sperm whales, blue whales. Then from there you have the humpback whale, the gray whale, are the most, like, I would say, the ones I've seen out there. I know there's minkies there as well. And then there's the pilot whales, which I have seen out there. So there's, and I bet you there's more.
Yeah. It's just, we're so no big ship does this, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never traveled with us before, like, this is so unique, and we're one deck from the waterline. So when I say nature dictates our schedule, it is bona fide. Kelly and her team did go out of their way to make sure that we get to immerse ourselves into this great marine life. And then speaking, next slide, Kelly, is one of your favorites.
Yes, I just had to include the bird life. I know some of you might not be birders, and that's okay. You could still enjoy these amazing birds, even if you're not a birder. If you're a birder, this is a great experience as well. We don't have birder specific guides or like tours, but every guide loves to spot any wildlife, and sometimes you'll have guides that are very like bird specific. So that was the thing I like to do presentations on, and I always had my big camera lens and my binoculars with me. And but then you'll also have like another guide that's really into snorkeling and the marine life and can answer every fish. So that's what's kind of unique about our guide team, is I try to make it a very unique guide team to where they can answer their specific expertise. But also we like to be able to answer as much as we can. We know a little about a lot of subjects, is what I always try to make sure our guides are very well rounded. But I just like to point out the birds, because all of these birds and all the pictures I've shown you are all pictures me and Julie have taken on these trips. So these are not internet-based photos. You can take these photos yourselves, including that amazing, magnificent frigate bird flipping over a brown-footed booby. That happened, and I don't know how I got my camera up, because usually I freak out and just lift my hands up in the air, but I was able to get that amazing picture, because that's how they get their foods. They'll attack the brown-footed boobies and flip them over to try to make them regurgitate and eat the food, and it's just so cool. But then we're also looking for some endemic bird species like the hummingbird, down in that lower right corner, the Xanthus hummingbird. And then we also have the vermilion flycatcher, and then the logger-headed shrike, which actually impales its victims, aka cuts a bunch of bugs and impales them on the thorns of the cacti, and then makes jerky out of them and saves them later. I'm like, that's amazing. And then of course we have the amazing blue-footed boobies down there. So you don't just see them in the Galapagos, you can see them actually nesting out on Espiritu Santo. And actually, if you are not into the sea lion snorkel, you're like, absolutely not for me, we do offer a skiff tour around Los Islotes, where that is a nesting site for the blue-footed boobies, and you can actually sometimes see them courtship dance, which is amazing. I freak out every single time. So I always love it when I can be looking at sea lions and then looking up and there's blue-footed boobies there, and it's just a wildlife overload day for sure. And then of course we have a bunch of ospreys, and you'll get to see some ospreys with nest, and it'll be the start of nesting season down there. So it's pretty fun and exciting to be down there for the bird life. So can't speak enough about it.
Oh, like your passion about birds is so contagious, Kelly, honestly. And it's so wonderful. And I love the seagulls kind of, I'm assuming, waiting to see if something may drop.
Absolutely. They're little foragers following
Yeah.
the action of they'll get any little scraps they can. So
Well, I love that. And I'm going to go to the next third of our presentation. But Kelly, do you mind hanging out maybe towards the end? We have Aileen in the background taking Q&A, and maybe I'll have her grab a couple of questions to push out to you. But first and foremost, I bet people are wondering, what is this small boat all about? We get to talk so much about our experience off the vessel, but what is it like on the vessel? And I feel like we really get into incredible places with our home away from home, our Safari Voyager. And I love the deck plan here as well as the vessel. These are all places that you can view. Look at this wraparound deck. They're all outside cabins. We do have different cabin categories, but the idea behind our vessel is that you can, almost like a floating B&B, it is yours to get on, be uber comfortable. What you wear for breakfast, you wear for dinner. And down on the Sea of Cortez, that's super casual. Again, we're not like those big ship cruisers up there. And if you want to check out our Safari Voyager, you can go right to uncruise.com. And then we have our ship section. And when you go to our ship section, you'll see the Safari Voyager. And it has 360-degree views on every one of our cabins, either a door that leads to the outside or a nice big viewing window, which is really, really nice. Kelly was sharing so much about the wildlife we see. And for those photographers that are on the phone, whether you love to shoot with your iPhone or your phone, or if you have a DSLR and you're super passionate about it, it is just like none other. Nobody gets into these remote areas like UnCruise Adventures. Now, yes, you see Santa sitting there, and we're going to all the way back to the beginning of the presentation when Dan was talking about this special Christmas cruise that leaves on December 18th, returns on the 28th on our brand new itinerary. I'm telling you, what a joy to be with the actual person that created this itinerary. And he can give you all sorts of insights and why we wanted to go and to explore with him and have him lead a walk. Now, the great thing is, if you don't have holiday plans, I did put a QR code in here if you want to take a shot at that with your phone, or you can certainly go on to uncruise.com and check out our Steinbeck's itinerary. But the great thing about this, again, Dan was just touched upon we're going to go to about 5 or 6 areas that Steinbeck and Rickards went to on the Western Flyer way back in the day to do all of their research at the log of Sea of Cortez. We're going to even bring in some culinary things that Rickards and Steinbeck had on their cruise. We're going to do a bit of reading on that as far as from the log of Sea of Cortez. But because it is a special holiday, there's so much celebrated during this time of year that our chefs on board, our food, we're going to really bring everything together and showcase something so special on this cruise. Now, you see here on this particular itinerary alone, we are offering a 20% off. Now, remember, when Dan was talking about this, he said this itinerary is already priced at our 7-night. They're both exactly the same, but you get 3 additional nights on this, plus 20% off. And then if you have a family and you don't know what you want to do over the holidays, we have the second kiddo is free. Now, if it's just a family of 3 where a kiddo is traveling with 2 adults, we've got special fares for that as well. So come join Dan on this great itinerary. We had this great meeting yesterday about this particular itinerary. In fact, we'll probably get for those into La Paz. There's a beautiful orphanage there in La Paz, and we're going to work with La Paz too in the orphanage to do something special with them and see if we can do a toy drive, and we'll announce that to all of you after you guys sign up. So just some really heartfelt things that you do during this time of year to give back. So we're very excited about that. And if you already have your holiday plans and you don't have New Year's, well, we've got a New Year's cruise. Now, this is our 7-day itinerary. It's going to run from December 28th to January 4th. And this was a lot of what Kelly was talking about. Again, great time to be down there. This is one of the images I took right early one morning. These are the sunsets you're going to get during this time of year, really, and throughout the season. It's pretty awesome. And on this itinerary, we're offering 10% off. Plus, if there's any kiddos on this, $1,000 off per child. So again, Dan will be on this one as well. Give our adventure specialists a call, whether you're a travel agent on the line now, talking with some of your clients that you've invited, or if you have sailed with us before. It's just going to be such an amazing time. And we have spoke about most everything but our amazing food on board. And in my opinion, this is our unsung hero. Our chefs and bakery chef on board are over the top. They'll blow you away. I think everybody expects great adventure when they come with UnCruise, but the food will blow you away. You'll see the second photo down here. This farmer, he actually grows specifically for UnCruise. So all the produce that we get on board is all truly farm to table. So it is amazing. So all of our meals are healthful dining experience that our executive chefs use ingredients that reflect the local area because of these farmers that grow for us. So just to give you an overarching, mornings will feature a early riser breakfast with fresh fruit and baked on board pastries and breads, and then a full breakfast complete with specialty items will follow that. It is open seating. You can sit with whomever you want, whenever you want. So you're not bound to an actual table number like the big ships. It's really going in because we find that new friends are formed during all of our cruises, and we want to make that available for them. So depending on what you've signed up for with our expedition leaders, everybody goes out and does their activity, or maybe just want to hang out on the ship, and then they all come back and we have our lunch, and that ranges from pasta salads and sandwiches, homemade soups, ethnic dishes. It's just amazing what they come up with. Then we have the afternoon of activities. Again, you can hang out on the beach if that's available for us that day, or you can jump into a kayak, whatever it is you want to do. And then we have dinner. And now the great part about UnCruise Adventures is that we offer a choice of entrees that include that fresh seafood or meats. Or if you want a vegetarian dish, we have those available as well. Perhaps you have a special dietary need. We can absolutely meet those. Just let us know. Our adventure specialists know in advance. We send it right on the manifest, and the chef will meet you on board. So it's really a fantastic way. And not only the food is farm to table, but a lot of our spirits that are also included, from all of our sodas to coffee, tea, all of our alcoholic beverages. You'll get to sample. We have great bartenders on board that will really extend some great beverages on our ship. So our pastry chef, well, honestly, they will be sure to fortify all of our guests on board with their baked on board breads and mouth-watering desserts. Everything is made on board the ship. We don't bring in loaves of bread. We make them right there. The nice thing about our holiday departure, we have some really special things like eggnogs and gingerbread cookies that may be served at around 2 o'clock to everybody after they've had a great day of activities. So I love to share. Kelly and I both spoke about inclusive adventure, and I love to say, yep, really, it is all inclusive. So from our ground transportation to and from the ship in La Paz are included. All of our daily activities, our shore excursions, and our presentations. Kelly and her team in the evenings do beautiful presentations that pair with the area in which we're cruising. We spend a tremendous amount of time in national parks, preserves, and monuments, so all of that is included. And again, our great expedition leaders, the narration, the expertise, the guidance from that team is tireless. I mean, absolutely tireless. And they really do cater to each and everyone's activity level. I spoke about that locally sourced farm to table food, unlimited beverages, and of course the wildlife. When you're on a big ship, you may have to take a shore excursion to go see wildlife, or take a shore excursion to go check out the bird life, or maybe they charge you extra to like hang out with the owner and CEO, but not with UnCruise Adventures. We do include everything on board. And then, of course, we saw some of the great toys in which we get to see all this great activities, kayaks, stand-up paddle boards, our inflatable boats. We even have hiking sticks, yoga mats, because, we're exercising muscles maybe we haven't used in a while. So it's kind of nice to have that. With only 66 guests or 33 cabins on board this vessel, it is a perfect for groups or charters offering intimate and personal experiences. And it's ideal for family reunions or corporate retreats or even special interest groups. We get a lot of families that join us on these. So be sure to reach out to Miss Aileen if you're kind of thinking, be a cool place to take the family for the holidays or anytime throughout our Baja season. And she's got some great specials running right now for group travel in Baja. And believe it or not, because this vessel only has 33 cabins, Aileen loves to charter it. We get lots of notifications from families or groups of friends, or maybe even a wedding party that wants to join us. Please give her a call. She would love to customize your group or charter based on exactly what you need. Now, the referral program, and I'm really speaking to those who have sailed with us. And by the way, I just got an email from Dan, real time, that said he saw multiple past passengers in the audience, and he saw multiple of our industry folks, Cindy Anderson and Kathy Dragon. Thank you so much for joining us and just learning about UnCruise Adventures. So for those who have sailed with us before, for you travel advisors that have clients that have sailed with us before, we do have a referral program. So there's nothing like really talking to those who have been on board an UnCruise and to paint the picture of an UnCruise. Because sometimes it's really hard to get an idea of what we do unless you've seen some of our videos or have spoken to people. So just know that it's $100 per person referral fee for the person joining that's new with us, and also for those who have referred. So if you want to go out there and spread the word, please do. We'd love to have them on there. Just let our adventure specialists know, and they'll be sure to tag on that additional discount for you. If you're not already, we'd love to invite you to our blogs, our Facebook, our Instagram, our Pinterest, or even x.com, aka Twitter. If you want to take a shot of this with your phone, or just know that I'll send the entire presentation afterwards, check it out. We don't do the deal of the day. We actually do real life things, very organic situations. Last night, we had one of our captains have to move an iceberg with our Zodiac to drop an anchor at exactly where we wanted. And we just posted that today. So just some really neat things to check out. Or if you want to check out all of our videos, we literally have hundreds of videos on our YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/uncruise. Again, you can hit that QR code, take a snap of that, or write down that URL. So a lot of great things to share if you just want to get more in depth into understanding the whole style of UnCruise Adventures. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, but I want to ask Aileen, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, my friend. Is there anything
Yeah.
in the Q&A area that Kelly might be able to answer that you maybe have seen several times?
Yes, please. I do have a couple of questions for Kelly. So the first one is from Debbie. And what about the whale sharks? Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, so we have changed the itinerary a little bit. So we used to have whale sharks on like the earlier part of the year and the end of the year, and the whale sharks have just become like to where it was very weather dependent. So we decided to, instead of having the day in La Paz, like we used to, it would be like a little awkward, like getting into La Paz a day early because that's where like we'd have to vendor out that whale shark experience. We've decided to actually include whale sharks and gray whales in a pre and post experience. So more details to come on that pre and post, but that is what's going to be up for 2024, just to give us a little bit more flexibility with weather and where they're moving. But we're always looking for whale sharks on our actual cruises as well. They move a lot, and they have breeding grounds and feeding grounds, or not breeding grounds, they have feeding grounds that are protected areas, but there's also, they travel and move, and we have seen them out in Agua Verde, and we've seen them in some of the areas that we go to while we're at anchor, and they just come and say hello. It's very interesting. So they're viewing that. So we're always looking out for whale sharks as well.
And I think I just learned, such a good question, very insightful for the person who just asked, because I think I just learned that they are regulating the people in the water around the whale sharks. They want to be very protective of them, and unless there's maybe a pod of 10 or more, we can't even get in the water with them, that we can safely view them from the deck of the vessel. Or I know we've even seen them in a kayak before, if you're lucky enough. So
Right.
we really adhere to those regulations down in this area.
Yeah, the rules out of La Paz have changed every year, and it kind of it's best to, and we have to we vendor it out either. So really, if you want to see some whale sharks, my recommendation is to do the pre and post, or to come earlier or leave late out of La Paz, and give yourself some time for some good weather, because if it's murky, you can't see them, and if it's calm and flat for the day before, go the day after, and then there's usually them as there as well. But they're changing regulations, and it's so weather dependent to have that swim with the whale shark experience.
All right, we have two more questions. One from Dee Dee asking, when is the best time for birding? And yeah, I know you're gonna like that one. And then the next one from Susan, when is the best time for seeing the blue whales and gray whales?
Yeah. So it depends for the birding. It depends on what bird you're wanting to see. So generally in the land category of birds, the best time to go is generally February through April, when they're kind of there. While if you're looking for more marine birds, generally pushing April, May, like the blue-footed booby, May, more like the dancing happens later on in the season, in that April and May time period. But the blue-footed boobies are there year round. They're just not mating yet, and they're still hunting, so you'll still see them. And same thing with the marine birds. Marine birds tend to just go from sea to ocean, and then hang out a little closer to land. And since there's some amazing deep water there, they'll just take their little breaks out on land and nest out with the frigate birds. The frigate birds will nest in that later season as well. So depending on what bird you want to see is that time frame. So I hope that answers your question. And so that's when we're there, which is also great time to go. And then when it comes to blue whales, any whales in general, because they're migrating in, we are there when the whales are there. So the best time is generally that January, February time, like December. Yeah, they're December, they're traveling down and coming in, and blue whales especially are going from deep sea to up into the bay. And yeah, so it's not a peak season, but generally it's that yeah, late December, February time period. That's pretty good. I think that's it. I answered the questions, right?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thanks so much, Kelly. Honestly, I could listen to you. I've had a permanent grin the entire presentation. And I really want to personally thank you for joining the special presentation today with UnCruise Adventures. And I see there's a lot of comments and questions that were answered by Aileen. So thank you, Aileen, for doing that. For some reason, if we didn't get your question answers, no worries. I think I mentioned earlier that we will get all of those and we can reach out to you personally. I know I had a little audio glitch at the beginning of the presentation, so when I do my follow-up, I will add that video so you can hear the sound of it. It's such a great video, and we have two of our special expedition leaders on that love to chat about us, or chat about the area. And lastly, a big shout out to Kelly for sharing your extensive knowledge, your insight, and of course, your love and passion for this part of the world, and for training our amazing expedition leaders that are the heart and soul of what we do here at UnCruise. Truly, nobody does it like UnCruise Adventures. And to inquire about space or secure your booking on any one of our amazing destinations, we invite you to call our adventure specialist at 888-862-8881, or feel free to email them at sales@uncruise.com. I'd also like to give a special thank you to our travel agent partners that have really taken a lot of their time to learn about UnCruise Adventures and sharing this journey with them by inviting them to this presentation. So thank you. I know we've got some terrific partners on the line right there. And if you book with a travel agent that loves to, create that favorite getaway, please give them a call right now. They know our staff very, very well. They would love to book your next adventure. So with that, I want to wish you all fair winds and following seas, and we hope to see you, and Dan hopes to see you on our holiday and New Year's cruise coming up the end of the year, or any one of our departures that go through April. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks.